Hello everyone, my name is Gus.
Hi, I'm Woody.
Today this is a short video. I think there's going to be a lot more conversation than what's in the video. But apparently there was
How much more conversation can we possibly have from all the other 480 videos we've had?
Well, let's see if we can beat the record. But anyway, we're going to be talking about diving today. It's weird in dive talk, but talking about diving. And we're going to start with a video. Apparently somebody died in North Carolina diving. And there were conversations about whether, like, what can the government do to make it safer? Because apparently it's too dangerous.
The government?
Okay, well, let's watch the video and see.
I'm already saying
North Carolina, one of the finest locations for scuba diving in the world.
However, the recent death of a diver in an inshore dive facility has some asking if more could be done to keep divers safe.
CBS 17's Holden Kerwicki getting answers about what regulations are on the books and why seasoned divers believe more should be done.
After spending decades in the water.
Okay, let's just make it clear.
Find one. That's
no seasoned diver thinks more should be done.
I think it's zero.
Let's just make it clear, yeah.
Billy Harloff says there's one thing every diver learns quickly.
By the way, I have that BC.
Scuba dive is just like learning to drive a car. Okay, there's dangers in everything.
That's why he starts his students off slowly as they start working towards their scuba certification.
Certification dives, we use local rock quarries because it's typically a more controlled environment than offshore.
Mystery Lake in Wendell is one of two popular scuba spots in Wake County, but it's clouded in controversy after an unidentified 49-year-old woman lost her life Saturday shortly after surfacing.
It's a sad situation, but at the end of the day, scuba is an adventure activity and it's a dangerous activity.
The exact circumstances that led to that woman's death aren't clear at the moment, but diving is considered risky enough that the North Carolina Department of Labor has a 40-page guide to public safety diving outlining the laws on equipment inspection.
A lot of
Okay, hold on one second. Because public safety diving is an actual job. And I get it that the North Carolina Department of Labor wants to control labor-related diving. I get it. That makes sense to me, that there's rules, like OSHA has rules for commercial diving and whatnot. But recreational diving at a quarry? What does the Department of Labor have to do with that? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
What did it say that they have a minimum equipment requirement? I think is what he said in the North Carolina laws.
But for public safety diving, which makes sense.
He did say that, okay.
Yeah. But this guy said, Billy, I guess is his name. They're saying, he's like, well, Billy starts his students slow. Everyone starts their students slow by being in a pool. And not just in a pool, you start in the shallow end of the pool where you can just stand up. If you're having an issue, panic, things are not working out, it's breathing weird, whatever. You literally stand up out of the water.
And that was after quite a bit of academics, both academics you did on your own and typically some classroom sessions as well. Yeah,
when you learn how to dive, it's a progression thing. You're not doing the toughest skills, what do you think is the toughest skill in open water? The first certification class.
If you picked one skill that students are a little bit nervous about, it's probably removal of the mass removal and replacement.
People are scared about that.
They're a little nervous about that, but it's very easy to do.
In terms of complexity and like what should be the hardest, I would say the emergency skills are the toughest.
Maybe so. The emergency
because there's
swim
a lot.
and ascent or arrest,
sharing air. There's a lot going on, right? So those are the most complicated ones. But you're doing that towards the end of the class before you go out in the open water. You're not doing that on day one. Day one is literally go down and breathe out of your regulator. Now let me show you how to take it out of your mouth, put it back in your mouth. Let me show you what happens if you drop it. How do you get it back and put it back in your mouth? It's like little by little by little. And you start in the shallow end of the pool. Eventually you go to the deep end of the pool. Eventually you go to the open water. Like it's slow progress. This is not just Billy. This is the industry as a whole, right?
I'm sorry. Well, can I see your arm again?
Oh, boy.
I just saw something on your arm. What did you do? Get one of those fake tattoos?
Yes. It's a fake tattoo.
I mean, I'm sure you did. I mean,
I'm starting a
can I see?
Cave diving tatted gang.
Yeah.
Are you in? So
No.
I got a cave diving tattoo. It's not a big deal.
You saw how fast I answered.
All right.
You asked him, I am.
All right, let's see what Billy has to say.
accidents can be prevented before you even get in the water. Safety checks, your buddy checks,
Yes.
and just recognizing different stressors in people before you even get in the water to go dive.
However, the dive sites themselves have free reign
I've
to
been
set
there.
rules as they'd like, leaving some seasoned divers like Harloff to question if more oversight is needed.
Is it a good idea? Sure. Will they do it? I don't know.
As we wait for the medical examiner's report on the death at Mystery Lake, I asked Harloff if he had any reservations about going back in the water.
As long as you're prepared and trained and you have good equipment, shouldn't be a problem.
In Wendell, Holden Kerwicki, CBS 17 News.
That was that.
But we're not having a lot of problems in scuba diving.
No.
So I don't know where the government would possibly make a difference in the rate of people dying because now they're involved.
Yeah.
What are they going to add that we haven't already? We have very strict standards that everybody follows.
Yep.
And then the agencies on top of the standards usually go beyond that. They've developed world-class training materials. Really, most of them have. Let's just be honest. I don't care which one you like or don't like. They're really, really detailed training materials. And there's a lot of fantastic instructors that went through a process to become an instructor. I just don't know what else you would add.
Right.
Like a ticket?
And to be fair, and this is one of those things that is the same globally, no matter where you live. Like sometimes we do episodes where we talk about like health or whatever, and people will be like, this would never happen in the UK. This would never happen in Australia. Like people will chime in from all over the world. And to be fair, even though you and I have traveled more than the average person, we haven't been everywhere in the world. Maybe it is true that wherever you live in Copenhagen or whatever, this doesn't happen. But there's one thing that is true globally, which is government doesn't work. This is true everywhere. All right. This is maybe my opinion. I know before some of you jump in the comments and be like, in my country, actually government. No, government doesn't work anywhere. It just doesn't work. So to imagine that the government is going to come in and make scuba better in any way, like,
no way.
There's nothing they can do to make it better.
Nothing.
Or safer. So I actually found, surprisingly enough, there was a city in the United States that introduced regulations for scuba diving.
Wow.
Now, if you had to guess, wild guess, and I want you guys to pause the video in a second, but if you had to guess...
California. I don't know which city it is, but if anybody wants to add more government, it's the state of California. They always add more regulation, and it never works there.
No, it's terrible.
In fact, they've destroyed some cities that used to be beautiful.
It's terrible. And what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit more about this.
By the way, he didn't tell me that, but am I right? It's somewhere in
California. It is in California, of course. It's always in California. So this video right here, I'm just going to play behind the scenes. It's a safety stop. I thought it was funny, and I didn't know how to cover it, so I'm just going to play in the background. But these guys are in a safety stop. It's like mayhem. Like, nobody seems to be doing it. Like, these two, okay, okay, they're a buddy pair. This guy is alone down there. His tank is falling off, it seems like, or he's free-flowing. I don't even know. This guy is falling to the bottom. He's wrapped around his SMB.
He's got a camera and an SMB, I think.
The SMB.
Tangled all in his camera. That's what's going on. The camera, that's a mess.
He's going to the surface. Okay.
Well, no,
goodbye.
I don't think he's going to launch it.
See you later. This guy has a camera too. Is he filming the guy
Oh,
die?
absolutely.
We
know somebody. He's already at the surface. So whatever your thing was is done.
All right. His SPG's like okay. Anyway, this is just a comedy of errors. But one thing I found is I thought it was funny. This guy's like, oh my god,
It's a mess.
You guys.
Hey,
hello.
by the way,
he's alone.
I'm doing
Are
good.
you going up? Are you? Oh, he gave the middle finger, I think. Okay, that's not a new sign in scuba. But anyway, this thing, I don't even know what that is. What is that?
This is crazy.
I guess so. All right, what are these? These three
on
are
top
all
of
over
it,
the place.
I'm okay, but
Yeah.
look at that.
What
whole
are those
mess of
doing?
people?
I don't even understand. Is that guy with a tank sideways?
There is.
Wait. What is happening?
This looks like a practice session, honestly. To
But
me.
it can be because everyone has a camera. So when you're doing training, for those of you who don't know, who are not divers, when you're doing training, you're not supposed to have a camera unless you're training to be a photographer, like an underwater photographer. Then obviously you need a camera. But if you're just learning how to dive, they won't let you have a camera. It's against the standards.
Look at the line. Is it out of the camera? No, it's a mess. It's a total mess. The camera's getting launched to the surface. This is funny.
Might as well just let it go.
But
right?
you know, it's a learning point. Like, be careful. Like, if you're dealing with a camera, do you have experience being the SMB guy with a camera? Because I'm telling you, if I'm carrying a big camera with light, I'm going, you Gus, launch the SMB.
Yes.
Why do I need to launch mine with this giant camera?
It makes no sense. And actually, we posted a video. I'm going to link it up here where I'm talking about launching the DSMB as a couple, as a buddy pair, where one person does something, the other person does something else.
I think it's a great way to do it.
I posted it on Dive Talk Plus.
Why not do that?
Yeah, Dive Talk Plus. And multiple people commented and said, well, when I practice my DSMB deployment, I want to do it by myself because that way I know how to. And like I said in the video, I said, you should know how to do it by yourself. But if you're together, do it together.
Why not? Why would you not? Like, what's great? I mean, I'm all about that.
The only reason
I don't know
why
who told
people
you that, but I actually agree with that a lot.
Well,
I'm not saying you should.
The only reason people are saying is because if you don't practice alone ever, then when you have to do it alone, then you're gonna.
There is some logic to that.
Yeah, that is kind of logic. But I think in most cases, if you're gonna fire it and you're not trying to practice it on your own, just fire as a pair.
Absolutely.
There's no reason not to.
Yep.
Because if you don't, then this is what happened. This guy had a camera, tried to fire it, got entangled completely. Like, I don't even know what's happening right now. Like, what are we looking at?
Stream of bubbles flying everywhere.
It's like everybody seems to be free-flowing regulators here. It's just bubbles everywhere. You know what's funny about this, or odd about this, is that everybody seems to be on their own. Like, everybody's, like, separated. Nobody's in pairs. Just, like, whatever happened. Yeah, you're okay. You made it. By the way, is that snorkel barely hanging on by, like, the tip?
What a effing mess. Did you hear me say that?
That's what you said. Yeah.
That was a mess.
That was a mess. But anyway, I found these laws from the city of Laguna Beach. Okay? And this is part of their Code of Ordinances, Title 18, Beach and Parks, Chapter 18.21, Skin and Scuba Diving. So this is an attempt of a government, which we already established, no government works, trying to do this good, trying to make it safer. So here we go. So let's read together and let's try to understand what is going on right here. So what is scuba diving? They define scuba diving as the use of the Pacific Ocean to go diving. All right, cool. So here we go. Skin diving. Well, no, that's not what I mean. Where is
Discontinue skin diving, scuba diving.
Where is it? Oh, we have to find it. Equipment precautions. Okay. No person shall conduct any class of instruction in scuba diving or skin diving from June 15th to September 15th in any year.
High currents, then?
Why?
I don't know. Weather, high currents, bad weather. That's a bad season.
That's
all I could think of. Before. Oh no!
Watch this.
No. It keeps going. It just says before 7 a.m. or after. Before 7 a.m. or after 10 a.m. So that
why?
So you only have a window
3 hours, huh? But why?
Now,
yeah,
that has to be a government typo.
Before 7 a.m. or after 10 a.m. you can't.
Boat traffic during those hours?
It's nonsense. It's what?
Boat traffic. It's busy then.
6:59 a.m. illegal.
I think it's got to do
jail.
with it's got to be a busy time within that area. I don't know.
All right, check this out. No person shall participate in any skin diving or scuba diving activity at any time in the Pacific Ocean within the city in a manner that constitutes a hazard to any other person or to themselves.
How in the world is that going to ever be regulated? Who's the judge? Gus?
What's a hazard?
You just did it in a hazardous way.
Well, let's read more because they Of course, we're idiots. We haven't read the whole thing.
Okay.
It will tell you what's ahead. Okay, so it says, authorized order to discontinue skin diving or scuba diving. The city manager, marine safety chief, police chief, or their authorized designee. So anybody, like whoever. Or any officer or employee designated by the city manager to enforce surfing regulations and control skin diving and scuba diving activities may prohibit skin diving and scuba diving at any time diving conditions become hazardous as a result of storm, congestion of persons, lack of proper equipment. What proper equipment? Oh, whatever they think is proper. Such as mask, fins, snorkel, buoyancy compensator, and diving partner, or other conditions which cause a present danger to the person skin diving or scuba diving or to others. No person should fail, refuse, or neglect to stop skin diving or scuba diving activities or to leave the water when ordered to do so by any of these people that we just talked about before. So basically, if any employee, whether they're divers or not, it doesn't matter, whatever, for any reason.
And they come flying out in their boat.
Yeah. I don't think you have the proper equipment.
And they look in the water.
Yeah.
They just boat it out. Some manager that
Yeah.
doesn't know anything about scuba diving, because it doesn't say they have to be certified.
No. Just anybody.
That color is hideous. Get out.
Get out. Can be diving with a pink pink fins. You stupid? No. Get out of here.
It's dumb.
This
silly.
is government
this is
at
when
work.
They just don't make sense. They write stuff down, and I'm like, how are you going to enforce this?
How about a mask? Including the mask has to be proper. What is a proper mask?
Not the improper one. Don't use the improper one.
What?
Maybe. Well, Mike has those one kind. Maybe he likes those minimal masks.
Okay, so
maybe that's the improper.
So they're saying, okay, no, guys, don't be so tough. They're saying you have to have a mask. So like, if you have swim goggles, you can't go diving or whatever. Let's just say that. But like, buoyancy compensator. If you have a buoyancy compensator you haven't serviced in 5 years, is that a proper BCD, you think? Would that be considered safe?
Probably not. I'm thinking.
What if your regulator hasn't been serviced for 3 years? Would that be a safe regulator?
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I think we should be servicing, but all of this
just keeps going on and on and on.
My point is, we already cover this stuff within the self-governing body of the RSTC, WRSTC, ISO's involved, and then all the agencies wrote standards to conform, to actually go beyond those.
Yeah.
So it's already covered. I don't know what this does other than
you know what the
give them more
funny thing is that it doesn't seem to have any mention of whether you should be certified and trained. It's just like you need to have the proper equipment. And for those of you who don't know, here in the U.S., and I don't know if this is a global thing, but here in the U.S., you don't have to be certified to go diving. Nope. Like it's not against the law. You can just buy the equipment on Amazon and go dive.
Yep.
It's not illegal. Police can't stop you. Like,
yes.
It's recommended that you're certified and trained and know what you're doing, but it's not illegal. You don't need to be certified to go diving.
That is true.
Now, this is largely a self-policed, safety precaution where no dive operator, reputable dive operator, will accept you without certification. Like you go to South Florida and you show up and the first thing they say is sign this and put your level of certification, your last known dive, depth, whatever. If you're like, oh, I'm not certified, you won't go on the boat.
Yep.
They will not let you do it. If you show up at a quarry and you're not certified, you're not allowed to go. And there are some places like Paradise Springs, for example, in Florida, where they require a minimum level of certification. Like I think Paradise Springs is advanced open water and higher. Mm-hmm. So if you're just an open water diver, let's say you have 10 dives or something, you can dive there. They will check. If you're not advanced, you're not diving. So for the most part, depending on where you go, even though it's not against the law, those businesses will not allow you to do it unless you're certified.
Yes.
But if you found gear at a flea market and walking in the ocean at Fort Lauderdale, the police not going to stop you.
Yep.
It's not illegal.
All true.
The point is, when government gets involved in diving, they will not make it safer. It's just more nonsense, jargon, and clearly written by people that don't know what they're talking about.
Yep.
To be fair, I don't think I would do a better job. If it was up to me to make scuba diving safer, I wouldn't know what to write because I would continue to find gaps on everything I write. I'll be like, well, what about this? Like they say, okay, no person shall participate in scuba diving at any time in a manner that constitutes a hazard to themselves. Would you think cave diving fits in here? Would cave diving be a hazard to yourself?
Well, if you're not certified to cave dive,
But
it would be.
But I think it's arguable that even if you're certified, is a danger.
Yes.
It's a dangerous sport.
Oh.
Diving, just regular diving, is dangerous.
No, it's
There's
all a good
danger
point.
in.
It's
So might as well allow
It's
it.
government overreaching, and I
Yeah.
don't know what made the city of Laguna Beach think they needed this. That would be what would be interesting if you all know in the comments. Why did Laguna Beach City
Because
Council
they're
say,
in
you know
California.
what? We need to write a set of laws to now regulate scuba diving because, and that's why I'm going to leave it blank. Because of what?
Because we're Californians, and that's what we do.
Maybe.
We introduce more regulation.
I don't know. I don't know what made them do that there at these times and with these laws, but it's
Let's
crazy.
see what the penalty is. The violation of any
Misdemeanor.
of the provisions of this chapter is punishable as a misdemeanor. I don't know how bad a misdemeanor is. I've never been to jail or in trouble with
Well,
law.
if you
so
wear orange and they don't like it, you're going to get one in Laguna
misdemeanor.
Beach.
If you want to find out, just go to Laguna Beach and dive at 10:01.
Throw on my pink Scuba Pro, you'll find out what a
10:01
misdemeanor is.
a.m. Misdemeanor. Did they give you a ticket for misdemeanor? I don't know. Is that how it works? What's a misdemeanor? Do they take you to jail for misdemeanors? No. I assume no.
No. I think it's on your record though. It's below a felon. I don't know. But I mean, it's all of this stuff here.
Like you're applying for work and be like, back in 2025, you were found diving at 10:10 a.m.
With an orange SMB.
You are
And I
disqualified from
just
this
didn't like the way it was bent over.
CEO job.
You did not inflate your SMB enough when you fired it. This is on your record. Go home and think about it.
It's ridiculous.
Think about it, young man. This is the judge.
I
I want you to think about that.
Out of all the stuff that we saw, the entanglement was the funniest part. And we actually reacted. It's an old school video, but we reacted to a video of different ways in which people wrap line around their SMB. I don't know if you remember this video because it was a long time ago. But I'm going to leave it right here so you can check it out.
Yeah.
Government doesn't work.
By the way, in July, we're having our meetup. I'm wearing a Roatan hat.
That's not a Roatan hat at all.
This is what I'm wearing in Roatan. This is what they wear. They wear these colors in Roatan.
No.
This is Roatan color and a Roatan hat.
I hope
Can't wait to
California
wear it in
outlaws
July.
that hat.
This is my Roatan hat for the natural Roatanians.
That's illegal in California, that hat. We'll
I
see you in the next
guarantee
one.
the Roatanians are like, you're one of us. Bye, everybody.